The rules for Red 7 are really simple. The only real rule for the game is at the end of your turn, you have to be winning the game. That doesn't mean you can be in second or third place in a 4-player game. It means you have to be winning the game. If you're not winning, you're out of the round and everybody else continues until there's only one player left in the game. On your turn, you can do one of 4 actions. You can play one card from your hand to your discard pile, or as the game calls it, your palette, to make sure that you're currently winning the game. Or you can play a card to the rule pile, which the game refers to as the canvas, to change the rules to make sure that you are currently winning the game. The third action you can do is you can play a card to your palette or your discard pile, and then play a card to the rule pile or the canvas to make sure that you are still winning the game. The final thing you can do on your turn is you can do absolutely nothing, and that means you're out of that round for the rest of this round, and all the players are going to continue playing until they're unable to be the winners of the game, and one player is going to be decided as the final winner of the round. While on the surface, Red 7 seems very simplistic, the advanced rules add a lot more gameplay and a lot more strategy to a very fast-playing card game. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed my tutorial and also my gameplay for Red 7. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the YouTube comments. Be happy to answer any questions you may have. Now, I have no plans of becoming another one of those talking heads like about a million of the other reviewers out there, but I figured it'd be pretty boring to stare at a couple cards from Red 7. It's not quite as exciting as looking at a game full of miniatures or anything like that. So I figured I'd talk to you guys directly, maybe tell you a little bit of what I look for in a board game, and maybe give you some reasons why I actually enjoyed Red 7, even though it's definitely not a game that's in my wheelhouse at all. When I look for a board game, there's 4 things I really look for in a board game. One thing I really like to get in a board game is a lot of deep strategy. I love civilization style games. I love really deep games that are almost kind of brain melters, where you have to think, you have to plan, you have to be constantly planning. The strategies for the games are always changing. There's never just one set strategy that's going to help you play through the game and win. That's just the kind of games I really enjoy. I also like games that offer extermination. I enjoy games like Kemet. I think Kemet's a fantastic game. I love the strategy. I love the the strategy tree, the tactics for the game, and the fact that you just obliterate your opponent. And for me, any kind of game that has the ability to obliterate your opponents is going to be right there in my wheelhouse. It's going to be a game I'm going to really, really enjoy. Another thing I really enjoy in a game is a lot of theme. I enjoy games that basically pretty much an RPG in a board game format. If you give me a game that does that, I'm going to have a heck of a lot of fun with it. Look at Arkham Horror. I think it's a great game. Defenders of the Realm, don't know if you can see it over here, but it's a great game. It's just basically an upgraded version of Pandemic, but you throw in that theme and it becomes a fantastic game for me that I really enjoy. And the fourth thing I really look for in a game, if you watch any of my reviews, you know it's very important for me, family friendliness. I have 2 kids. I enjoy playing games with my family, and if a game gets the family friendliness, it's going to get the thumbs up from me because it's fun playing games with a family. And that's exactly where Red 7 comes in, and why this game is going to stay in my collection versus disappearing, because there isn't anything else about this game that normally fit for me, but it's a great family game. And I'll tell you why I enjoy Red 7 so much. A lot of games out there try to have mass market appeal. You look at games like Star Munchkin, or even any of the Munchkin games out there. You look at the Flux games out there. They're all trying to have mass market appeal, and the reason why they're trying to do that, or the way they're trying to do that, is by making the games that are a little bit simpler, like Red 7. They're easy to teach, easy to explain to other players, but they're easy enough that people who aren't hobbyist gamers, you can basically sit down with any non-hobbyist gamer, pull out Red 7 and explain them what the rules are. You have to be winning at the end of your turn, and they're going to know how to play the game, and they're not going to have a problem with it. It's a mass market game. Look at games like Flux. It's the same thing. The game basically is very easy to teach. It takes like 10 seconds to teach the game, and you'll be off and running and playing it. Same thing with any one of the numerous Munchkin games out there. You can basically pull them out of the box, sit somebody down, and 5 minutes tops later, they know exactly how to play the game. The difference is that Red 7, much like Love Letter, is very smart about it because it doesn't overstay its welcome. Yeah, Red 7 is a little bit more of a simpler game. It's basically just Uno and Flux combined and modified and made a little more modern, but that's basically all the game is. The difference is, unlike Munchkin and unlike Flux, Red 7 is never, ever going to overstay its welcome. The longest you're ever going to play this game, even with all the advanced rules, the scorekeeping, all the extra action rules and everything like that, the longest you're ever going to play this game is probably 20 or 25 minutes tops. And you're going to see a strange break here while I move the cat. Back on point before Godzilla the cat interrupted the screen here. The nice thing about Red 7 is Red 7 is going to end before it overstays its welcome. So you're having fun the entire time you're playing it, and you're not going to end a game thinking, my gosh, if only this game is going to end, which is something we have all mentioned numerous times by playing Munchkin, and something we've all thought multiple times by playing a game of Flux. We just want the game to end. Red 7's never going to do that, never going to overstay its welcome. You're going to have fun playing it because it's fun while you play it, and by the time the game is over, before it's worn out its welcome, you're done. I would go as far as to say that if Steve Jackson Games or even Looney Labs, if they manage to hire the guys who designed Red 7, and by the way, if you don't know, they're also the same people involved with Innovation. Both of them work together on the game of Innovation. But if Steve Jackson Games and Looney Labs hired these guys to maybe fix Flux and fix Munchkin, those might actually be better games, or, well, at least not as hated as they are now due to the fact that they just last way, way too long. Another nice thing about Red 7 is the rules are extremely easy to teach, easy to explain, and easy to learn to the point that anybody can play this game as a family game. Now the box itself lists that this is a game for ages 9+. That's wrong. It's very, very wrong. You can play this game easily with a 5 or 6-year-old. Matter of fact, the nice thing about this, and this also makes this game also friendly for people who have issues with matching colors, for colorblind people. All the cards of the certain type, all the violet cards have the same rule on them, so if you can't tell the difference between violet and another color, all you have to do is just memorize that rule means that that's going to be a violet card. The indigo cards all have the exact same rule on them. The green cards and everything like that, all the cards have the exact same rules on them, so even if you can't tell the difference between colors, you can still play Red 7 easily, just as long as you memorize the things. And that memorization also works for the younger players. You don't have to be able to read to play the game. Once you know the fact that green means as soon as this is the rule, you have to have the most cards of a certain even number, you can understand and play the game, which means that this game can very, very easily play with younger kids. My 6-year-old understands this game very easily and actually wins at it and enjoys it and has a lot of fun with it. Again, the nice thing about the game is there's just enough randomness and enough luck and enough strategy, though, even with the basic rules, that the younger kids can play and have a heck of a lot of fun with the game, and you still play with the adults when you bring in all the extra rules, the action rules, and advanced rules, making this a game that is great for all age ranges. I'd say anywhere from ages 5 and up. Now, my personal opinion about the player count is I'm going to say I think the game plays better with more players. I don't think this is the best 2-player game out there. I think there's better games out there. And the simple reason why I feel that is for the simple fact that it can almost feel anticlimactic as you watch an opponent play down a card thinking in the back of your head, as long as they don't play green, I'm not out. Watch an opponent play green, you're like, oh man, I'm completely out. Nice thing about the multiplayer game is if you see somebody play a card that you know is going to throw you out, that you have no defense against, there's at least a couple other players who may change the rules and save your skin and save your neck, preventing you from having to be forced out of the game. So I like that aspect about it too, and I also like the fact that there just seems to be more interaction with more players, making this feel like a game that's better for more players. I think it plays best with 3 or 4 players, but it's still pretty darn decent as a 2-player game. Like I said though, I think this is a great game, has lots of mass market appeal. I can see this game easily showing up in the Walmarts and the Targets and replacing Uno on the shelves, especially once people start playing with this game and enjoying and seeing how well it plays from the basic all the way up to the advanced through the action rules. Overall, I think Red 7 is a great game. Again, it's staying in my collection. I like the fact that the game does offer a lot of strategy using the advanced and the action rules. Again, I'm not a big fan of the basic rules unless I'm playing with the younger ones, and I think the basic rules are perfectly fine. But using the advanced rules, you can see that there's lots of deep decisions. While the 7 at the surface may seem like a great card to play, it may not be a great card to play because you're going to have to discard a card which may change the rules, which may end up making you lose. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the 7s are always going to be great cards because they're going to change the rules of the game and make things more difficult for you. So you don't always want to just play a game where I need to keep the biggest cards in my hand. Or you have the 3 card, it can save your skin. If you're down to no cards, you play a 3 card. While it may not be the best cards you could play, it's going to help you get extra cards in your hand, which is possibly going to save your skin and keep you in the game longer. Not only that, when you play with the rules where you're scoring, one hand is not necessarily going to end the game. Not do another comparison of Love Letter, but it's not about the individual rounds. It's your overall score playing all the rounds together that's going to judge who is the final winner of the game. I think Red 7 is a good game. I think you should add to your collection. This has been another off-the-shelf board game review looking at Red 7 by Asmadi Games. Thanks for watching.